This is our Mercedes 190e, and to be honest, she's definitely seen better days. And one of the things that we need to sort today is the exhaust system. As this car will be going for a UK road test soon, we need to make sure that everything's buttoned up and legal. Now, pretty much everything is stock on this car except for this wing that someone's put on. But let's take a look at the state of the exhaust. As you'll be able to see without me even jacking the car up, there's some rust spots in the exhaust and there's a big leak coming from it. Some of the hanger points are destroyed and I've definitely seen some holes further up. So let's get to removing this today. If you're like us and have lots of these cars, they tend to become sheds, to say it lightly. So in this one we've got a set of BBSs, we've got spare parts and pieces, and then in the boot at the moment, because this is the car we're working on the most, if I can get her open, yeah, we've got fenders, over fenders, bleeding kits, and underneath what I need to get to is the jack so we can get under the car and assess the situation. Now I'm going to just be jacking from the rear point, probably here, and if not later on I'm probably going to have to go further on and jack from maybe one of the wheel points, because the original jacking points in this car, I'm not a fan of using them. They're a system where you have to use a certain specialised jack, and I'd rather feel safer under one of these. So for now I'm going to jack up from here, assess the back box situation, and then essentially make a list of tools as I go along. And some of that audio might have sounded pretty bad, and that's because I forgot to plug the mic in. So let's try and start this again with some jumbo juice and continue jacking and getting under the car. So to start with, one thing that's different from most cars, as you'll see if you've worked on modern cars, is the system works on these like rubberized bungs. Now the problem with these is they're not very strong. Well, clearly it's strong enough to hold up over the time. However, they are subject to large amounts of dry rot, so we'll probably have to replace these. If not, when we eventually make a custom exhaust system, we will change this. The bracketry holding here has completely rusted and snapped, and I imagine as we go along it's going to be something similar. So aha, there's a big old hole in the back of our rear muffler, and as we go down I imagine we're going to start to see more issues. So we've got to take this clip off here, another ridiculous looking hanger, then it goes to the midsection, which I can see there, you might be able to catch on camera. I think that might be another hole in the exhaust. Essentially I think we're going to just tackle the back first, get that off, and then we'll work our way to the front section to check over. But I can definitely see a hole in the midsection. I really didn't want to have to take that off, but we'll have to do what we have to do. Now, before getting too hasty, I'm not going to be removing the two bungs at the start. We're first going to be working on this midsection release so that we can take in smaller sections essentially, and then we can take the weight off of it, because I imagine this exhaust is going to be quite hefty, as most things are on this 190e. So let's figure out what bolt size we've got here, some WD-40, and I imagine an impact, because it looks like everything's just completely solid to the car. Since for now we want to keep everything stock and just get the car through MOT, what we're going to do is we're going to be welding parts of these exhaust holes back together. Now I know they won't look the best, and yes, it will only be a temporary fix till we make our own custom exhaust. However, we're super lucky because we have the guys at Artec supplying all our welding goods, so we will be able to use our Artec welder, our MIG, to patch these holes up temporarily, and we will also be using their MIG and TIG welders to make our new custom exhaust. It won't be in this video, but it will be very, very soon after we've got the car through all of its safety and actually properly running on the road again. Now, this isn't a product placement and we're not sponsored by WD-40. However, I am absolutely going to coat every bolt we're going to touch, because these all look super crusty. I'm gonna have to do the same further down, but to be honest, those sections don't look as bad. But yeah, I am not risking anything. I imagine, to be honest, these bolts will just completely snap off and we'll have to replace this piping. Obviously, hopefully not, but I believe these parts, as we had on the Accord, they're only about £8, £9 in British money. Very basic clips, and you can readily get them from any part store. Now, if someone can tell me what in the Germany is this, because 13mm, man, it might not be standard, but 13mm is crazy. Let's see if the WD-40 is able to do stuff with the impact to get that off. Now, excuse the bad angle, because there's no easy way to do this. What? That is crazy. I actually can't believe that that came off as easy as it did. And it doesn't feel too stuck in the bit. Obviously, I'll just do a little thread. See if I can get it out. It just seems that it's minorly stuck in there. Wow. No, actually that came off pretty okay. Super happy about that. And so far, a lot of things, even though they're engineered on this car, they are definitely built rust proof. Or well, for the most part. What? That's insane. So that came off ridiculously easy, to be honest. And then I should be able to just separate the clamp. Oh. But it doesn't look like the clamp actually does anything. Hang on. Ah, it's a slide over. So that might be a bit tricky because I imagine it's going to have rusted through. And yeah, I can feel this edge which is completely rusted out. So I might have to get a screwdriver to lever that. But I'm pleasantly surprised. I'll relieve the tension from the other side and we'll see if we can just slide it out. Okay, now it's essentially just lifting the exhaust up and then pulling the hangers off. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully it would have left us enough leverage to then basically yank the exhaust into its sections. I believe this exhaust comes in like 5 or so pieces, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, let's unhook and hope. Now, believe it or not, I've taken these rings off. They were fairly simple to get off. That does not feel or look like it's going anywhere. So, I mean, I'm going to give it a couple of tugs. But to be honest, I don't know if these pieces will separate. If not, I'm going to have to go further down, and then there's a couple of bolts. It's not too big of a pain, but obviously it just increases the weight as we go. And yeah, I don't really fancy straining too much while doing this, but we'll get it off regardless. It's just in how many pieces, and then how many pieces it will go back together with. Now we're going to get our first use out of the copper hammer and give it a couple of taps, just very lightly, because I don't want to break anything any more than it already is. But essentially, I'm hoping this will just loosen off very slightly and shock it. It looks really awkward while I'm trying to film doing this. I'll update you in a second with how this goes. And yeah, that's not happening. So no matter how hard I'm hitting, we have no luck. So we're going to go further down. Hopefully they're also 13s. They look more like 12s. We're going to undo those and then unhook this top mount here. So I can just about get this from the side, and yeah, it's another, I believe, 13. It's got a little bit of wobble, but we should be able to disconnect there. And then hopefully not have to tackle the upper side. The upper side doesn't look like it's rusted at all. It's just this box section. So let's relieve the back and see what we can do. I do like the space that Germany gives you to get an impact in. Most car companies, including Toyota, don't tend to do that. So that felt like it was coming something, or some what apart. Oh yeah, it's coming away super nice. I'm gonna have to get, I think, well, maybe not. Wow, I thought I was gonna have to get a spanner on the other side, but that's come off pretty nicely. Sweet. Let's move to the other side, and wow, that is crazy. This thing is engineered out of no tomorrow. This is mental. Jeez, I guess it had to be for how much money they spent into developing this car. And no joke with this, that came off like as easy as ever, which is crazy considering this car had sat for like 5 years without moving. And don't get me wrong, this car does have its small rust issues in certain places, but that is pretty impressive. Obviously when it's past its MOT, hopefully it passes without any rusting issues or anything like that. If not, we'll obviously fix them, and if it does pass MOT, we will obviously look to fix them as well. One main thing that this car does look great for is all of our brake fuel lines. There is minimal rust on them, so we've just got to try and keep it that way. Otherwise we're going to have a fun job doing some braided lines on the whole thing, which eventually in the future, but we don't have the budget for that now. Now the exhaust is held up by this last large hanger, which I might tackle from the side, because already when we've relieved the pressure on that centerpiece, it has dropped the entire thing. Let's maybe see if I can wiggle under. Oh wow, that thing weighs a crazy amount. I mean, let's see if I can get under it just like this. Yeah, that should be fine. My hanger tool, I might have to go grab that because it'll make this job a lot easier. Yeah, let's do that. Now, if you're a mechanic and you're working and you struggle with hangers, I can't believe you haven't bought one of these. I saw this, I believe it was on Instagram or something along those lines years ago, and it is the best tool I've ever used. Someone has literally done the worst welds, taken what looks like an old exhaust hanger hook and a little pressure lever area, but this thing will save you sometimes hours on getting them old exhaust hangers off. It's crazy. I love this tool, used it loads. It doesn't look like it. Super cheap. I'd recommend getting one. Again, not sponsored, but super cool tool. Now, excuse the audio because I'm not used to working with these high budget mics and things like that. So I'm sorry if it sounds a bit weird or cramped, and ignore my fingers going in the shot. I'm going to try and do this as best as possible on camera, but it can sometimes suck to film this sort of thing. Usually for this I'd use like a silicone spray because it stays onto these rubbers and it's a lot easier to use for it. Let's try take two. I love how I was like singing this tool's praises and then here we go. Look how easy that is at removing exhaust hangers. There we're off. There you go. And then the tool slips out, and then probably not that dramatically, but there's the exhaust off. Thankfully I got to show off the tool in a proper way, how it should be, but dang, that was actually pretty easy to go off. I've had more struggles getting Citroen C1 exhaust or Peugeot exhaust off than I have with this. I can tell you what, I am so surprised with how nicely the bolts have come off. And I think that's something that, compared to working in the Jap cars, I've noticed. Even the engine bay and everything on this, it's over-engineered. However, that over-engineering to some degree has helped and prevented things from breaking and rusting like on the Jap cars, and also being super thick of a car as well. It's made a massive difference. But that has taken me, we're at 11:07, it's taken me less than an hour to get that off, which is super cool. So let's pull the exhaust out and have a proper examine of this section, and then I'll have a look further at the dreaded next section. Ignore the fact I'm gonna have to drag this out because it's just me. Let's get it out and see. So to be honest with you, for the most part, the exhaust is looking pretty okay. So obviously we've got this section which is rusted, which I think we should just be able to keep as usual. I don't think it was leaking from that section, nor the end here. And our middle box is looking pretty okay. However, you might be able to hear it. I'm not sure if it'll pick up on the mics or not. This thing is full of rust. This resonator is probably not doing anything. And yeah, there we are. So we have a large hole in the back here, which is great. So we're gonna have to sort that one. And then also in this pipe section here as well. It's gonna be difficult because I imagine a lot of this is gonna blow through. So we're gonna have to just take it very slow. See, now I was really hoping this section would be easier to take off, but it's not looking that way. So I'm gonna have a look at this rust area, see if it's blown a hole through or not. Fingers crossed, obviously it hasn't. And yeah, might even do a sound test actually. No muffler, 190E, how does it sound? Not too many revs because the fuel is there, but oh boy, the fun of the game, hey? After doing some inspection, it seems that it's actually probably just the muffler shields, so we might get away with this. Obviously we will be replacing it in the future, but I don't fancy it because at the minute, because it's a lot of clamps, and I think it goes all the way to manifold at the front from this section. Obviously there will be some sort of flexi downpipe situation, but yeah, I'm not going to deal with that at the minute. So I'm going to run the car, see if it's just coming out the back point, and see if there's a blow there or not. Fingers crossed there isn't, and we're all good to go, and just weld up those couple of pinholes on the exhaust, and then she should be sweet to go after that. Now the question is after being sat for a few days, I obviously need to put the battery back on. Is she actually going to start up and run again? Because we've only just started to get her running as needed, and the BBSs are still in here. So essentially, I might have to give her some air, give her some start juice to get her going. One thing to also note about the car at the minute is that, well, essentially she's not got much fuel in her. So we'll have to see how she goes, and I know you shouldn't lift it from that, but it's difficult one-handed. So let's put her into service mode, get the battery on, and see if she'll start. So for those who haven't seen, go check out Lex's videos on this, but essentially we have replaced pretty much every coolant hose, the radiator, the thermostat housing, pretty much everything, full coolant flush, and then we've got coolant now back in the system. We attempted to clean this off, but we have some different plans for that. But we're tackling bit by bit, getting the wipers working, the washers working, the side indicator, which isn't on at the moment, but yes, it does work. We just need to do some things with fender fitment, but more videos on Lex's channel. Let's just get her running and see how the exhaust sounds. Now, because she hasn't been running properly on the road, I'm going to just prime the pump a couple of times first with the key in and out. I can hear the pump priming. Apparently the indicator's on. And then now I'm going to give her a start, and if she doesn't start, I'm going to give her some revs. She tried. Let's go again. She's trying, so let's give her some revs this time. Get some fuel in her. She sounds like an absolute tractor. There you go, so she's now back running. She's going to possibly bog out and die. No, we're good. So let's test for the leaks in a second. So from those tests there, I've determined that essentially we are good. It is only causing issues and blowing through, well, not causing issues, it's only blowing through the back, it's not blowing through the issued area. So that means we just need to weld this rear section, but also a couple of other things. But that's besides the point. It's looking likely, so let's get the Artec goods out and get welding. So you join us, and this, as we know, is the state of the exhaust. We have a couple of holes to weld on this back point here, and there's a small blob. We might just be able to tack that. There's a bigger bit here that I've revealed, and then over with some other pieces around the other side as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a grinder out, we're going to prep the surface better and get welding. So I've just grabbed the Artec, we're going to get welding. I think that because of the material and how much it's flaking, I'm probably just going to have to build up tacks rather than make it look pretty. However, when we do our big flashy new exhaust, obviously we'll weld that tighter. Now, I'm no expert welder, however, with the Artec, it's super easy. Just used easy set and I was able to get what I think is a pretty good weld. Ignore my helmet hair. I had to use quite a lot of weld on this section, so it's not too pretty. I could tidy it up a bit, but it's literally just got to get through MOT. And then this section as well, I had to add quite a lot of weld filler because essentially any time there was a tack on any section, it would blow out another area. So that's all done. And as I said, even if it's just small little projects like this, just to get this running in the meantime, it's fine. If I needed it to look nice, I would have had to cut a section out and start again and do it all properly. But essentially, this just needs to go now back onto the Mercedes and then we'll be good to go. But I won't show you that as it's just the process I've shown you already in reverse. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the content on how to remove the Mercedes exhaust, the 190E. And I hope this, I wouldn't call it a welding tutorial, but a little welding session shows some light that you don't have to be a pro, but you can get welding done. If it's just, as I said, to pass a quick MOT, or if it's more permanent basis. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want more Mercedes content, leave a comment down below.